Okay, good morning, class. Today's lesson number 2 is finding similar sides and similar figures. So what we're going to have is an unknown side that we want to find, and we're going to use similar figures to help us find that shape. We would use this often when we're going from the diagram to an actual measurement of a real life object. Okay. So please turn to page 7 of your notes. Turn to page 7, turn to page 7, turn now to page 7. Now for the diagram, that could be a model, it could be a picture, okay, or it could be a drawing. Okay, all those different things represent the diagram, even though the model isn't necessarily a diagram. The actual number will be the actual image that you have or the actual object. So what we set up here is we got to set up a ratio. So what we have to do is we have to find a known ratio. And what we use that known ratio for is kind of like the key where all of these sides are in that same ratio. So for the known ratio, we're looking for one fraction where we know the number on top and we also know the number on the bottom. That is our key to success because all other fractions will use that to figure out the unknown value. So let's get started. Here we have two similar figures. We're told that they're similar. That means that they've just been enlarged or reduced, and the sides have been enlarged or reduced in the same ratio. So we want to find the lengths of all the sides in this smaller figure right here. So what we do is we got to set up our fractions. Now we have a choice. You can put the small object on top and the big object on the bottom, or you can put the left image, the left object on top, the right one on the bottom. Somehow you want to figure out which one you want on top. It doesn't necessarily matter. For us, though, to make the work a little bit simple, we'll use the small versus the big. Okay, so of course this is the small one, and this is the large one or the big one. You actually want to remember which one is which, so you want to write it down which one you put on top. We'll put the small numbers on the top and the big sides or the big numbers on the bottom. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides on this figure. So we're going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fractions. So we can do this before we even get started without thinking about anything. And then we'll put the numbers for the small side on top. Now, since they're not labeled, we can use the two capital letters. So we can use, for this side, FG. Then we know this value is 5. Then we know that this is HI. And we know that this side is IJ. And this side is JF. Now, if you didn't want to use the capital letters, what could you do? Well, you could go and label it X, Y, Z, W, or W, X, Y, Z. Okay? But we're going to use the capital letters because they're given to us, and it's just as easy. Okay? The question is, though, which side goes on the bottom? Well, which side corresponds with FG? Since we don't have the names, we've got to go based off the diagram and what it looks like for the sides that correspond. The sides that correspond here would be 12 because it would be in the same position of the figure as FG. You do have to be careful because sometimes we rotate the images, but usually we give you the names if we do that. So which side corresponds to 5? 5 is here, so that would be 10. So 10 goes underneath 5. Which side corresponds to HI? Down at the bottom, you're right, it's 14. And which side corresponds to IJ, which is over here on the left bottom? That's correct, it's 8, side ED. And which one's the last ones that correspond? We have JF, that would correspond with 6. Okay, so we have all the fractions set up. And which one is our key fraction? Which one is our known ratio? Well, our known ratio is this one right here because we know both numbers. So what we can say is that we can say this fraction equals this fraction because they're joined with an equal sign. So we can say FG over 12 equals 5 over 10. But we can also say that this fraction equals 5 over 10. So we can say 5 over 10 equals HI over 14. And since they're all equal to each other with equal signs, we can also say this fraction here equals 5 over 10. So we can say 5 over 10 also equals IJ over 8. And the last fraction, yep, you guessed it. This one, because of all the equal signs, it also equals the very middle one. So we can come up with another proportion, 5 over 10 equals JF over 6. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 proportions, and we can solve each one to find for the missing sides. So when we're doing this, when we're solving, we simply do our cross multiply and divide stuff. So instead of dividing by 12, we bring this 12 up from here and we multiply by 12. So FG equals 12 times 5 over 10. Okay. So try that on your calculator. Take out your calculator. Go ahead. Calculator's out. Calculator's out. Calculator's out. And you actually want to do the math on the calculator to make sure you can do it. Do this on your calculator. Go. So on the calculator, 12 times 5 divided by 10 equals 6. So FG has the length of 6. Let's solve the next one. Over here in red, we have this one. Instead of dividing by 14, we bring it up and multiply. And so we get 5 times 14 divided by 10 equals HI. Make sure you write the equal sign. Make sure you write the equal sign. Make sure you write the equal sign. You want to make sure you have equal signs. Right? Otherwise, it's like missing words in a sentence. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So make sure you have a stinking equal sign here as well. Go ahead, use your calculator, use your calculator, use your calculator. Go, use your calculator. Multiply that, divide it, find your answer. I'm waiting. Let's go. Calculators today. And so your answer is 5 times 14 divided by 10. Nice clean answer of 7. Not all your answers are going to be this nice and neat. Lots of them, most of them in fact, will probably have decimals. So let's double check the green one. Go ahead and solve it. Do this one on your own. Do this one on your own. Go. Let's go. Do it, do it, do it now. Okay, so instead of dividing by 8, you bring it up and you multiply by 8 when you cross the equal sign. And on your calculator, go ahead, multiply it. Use your calculator, use your calculator. Let's go, use your calculator. 5 times 8, divide by 10. Answer is 4. Okay, pretty good. You guys should be getting used to this now. Do this last one, do this last one, do this last one. Let's go. Do the last one. Find how long is side JF. Hurry up, let's go. Make sure you're writing down your work. No work, just answers equals no marks. Final answer should be 3. Okay, so this was a pretty simple question because all of our unknowns were on one figure. Okay, on real questions, you'll have some unknowns on one figure and some unknowns on the other figure. And what you'll do is use your key fraction. For this question, our key fraction was 5/10. You'll use your key fraction to find all those missing sides. Okay, and here we have all our ratios set up. I don't like doing it in this format. Okay, I like just, actually that's good, but yeah, don't do that. Okay, next one then. So, example number 2, we have a diagram of a bedroom. Here is the diagram of the bedroom with the measurements written on for all the sides. Okay, but this is the diagram measurements. So keep that in mind. Let's write that down. Okay, this is their diagram. Okay, diagram. So she drew this of her bedroom on a piece of paper, and these are the lengths that she drew each wall. She kept it proportional. And now she told you that the longest wall is 12.75 feet. So what we're going to do is draw an identical figure to this and put on the measurements. So here's the actual image. Okay, so there's actual. Now, the longest one is 12.75 feet. So of all these measurements here, out of all of them, which one is the longest? Have a look at the numbers. You're right, the top wall is the longest. So we're going to write that over here because that is 12.75 feet. Make sure you have your units. Make sure you have your units. Make sure you have your units. Write FT for feet. So the question now is, what are all these other measurements? What's the length of this wall, this one, this one, this one, and this one? Since we don't have capital letters in the corners, let's label this actual diagram with all the, label all the walls. So this will be wall X, this will be wall Y, this will be wall Z, this will be wall W, W, X, Y, Z, and this will be wall what? Let's just say wall T. Okay, you can use any ones that you want. So which image do we want on the top, the left or the right, the diagram or the actual? Well, let's put the diagram on top and the actual numbers on the bottom because we need to practice that. So for the diagram, we have 8.5, and we're just going to go around the diagram. Then we have 3.5. Sorry, 3.4, 3.4, I said that wrong. 3.4. Then we have 2. Then we have 2.8. And then we have 6.5. And then the last wall is 6 inches. Okay. On the actual image, okay, this is inches. On the bottom, we have 12.75 feet. So we can then label all the other sides. This will be X, Y, Z, W, T. Notice how I kind of put our key fraction right there, and now we have all the fractions equal to it. So we won't do all of them, but we'll do two of them to make sure we're ready. So we can say these two fractions are equal, and that would be a proportion. So we get 8.5 over 12.75 equals 3.4 over x. So now we're going to solve for x. What's the first thing we have to do? Well, we first notice that x is in the basement. It's cold, it's dark, it's scared. X wants to get out of the basement. So to get x out of the basement, we flip the fraction. But what do we have to do to keep it equal to the other fraction? You're right, we have to flip that fraction as well. Okay, and now we can cross multiply and solve for x because this is just like the questions we finished doing where x is on the top of the fraction. Make sure we flip both of them. So Instead of dividing by 3.4, we bring it up and we multiply by 3.4. And then divide by 8.5. Go ahead, use your calculator. Use your calculator. Do it, do it. Use your calculator, find an answer. Go. And we get 5.1 as our answer. Okay, that's the length of x. Now, is that 5.1 dogs, pigs, goats, or sheep? You're right, it's feet. Okay, that's 5.1 feet. Okay, let's do the second fraction. So we can write this fraction as being equal to our key fraction. So we get 8.5 over 12.75 equals 2 over y. So we flip both fractions. And now that y is on the top, we can simply cross multiply and divide. Go ahead, do it. Finish it yourself now. Go ahead, do it. Go, go, go. Cross multiply and divide. Finish it. Let's go. And so we get y equals 3 feet. Hopefully you wrote down feet, and sure hope that you wrote down your equal sign. Okay, so we get y equals, I should make that a little bit bigger. 3 feet equals y. Okay, so we can do the exact same thing with all the other fractions. It's just like what we did up above. Okay, that can be equal. This one here can be equal. And even the last one can be equal. And you just solve for the unknown. Okay. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to complete assignment 2 and assignment 3. So you're incomplete both. Not complete both. You're incomplete assignment 3. Go slow, show all your work. I want to see all your work. I want to see all your work. I want to see all your work. Those that are done, you can work on any missing work or any projects. A few of you still need to do stats. Okay. Making sure you complete any missing projects. Okay. Begin. Good luck. Enjoy. Have fun. And right there, assignment 3. Go.